Hey guys, look who I have with me. It is Orlando Midwinter Mini Fringe. What am I saying? It's the Fringe Festival. I'm super excited to have these guys on here. Let's talk about the arts. Let's talk about their topics. I think it's going to be so cool. We had a great pre-show discussion. Let's see how much of that falls over into it. Ben Gilbert, how you doing? So I'm going to introduce people, and then there's so many. I want to make sure they have time to talk about their art and Mini Fringe and what's going on in Orlando. So we have, I'm just going to go this way. We have Nyla Carpentier.
Close enough, Carpentier.
She went French on me.
Yeah.
Fantastic. John Bennett.
It's Benoit. It's John Bennett.
I thought about that for a second. I'm like, nah, we're just going to go with Bennett.
Yeah.
John Bennett. Oh, you know how many
Bennett.
times that came up when I was trying to tag you?
Yeah.
John Bennett. Paul Strickland, and then Brian Sikorski in the back. Brian is the organizer, the runner, the man, the myth, the legend of Orlando Fringe.
Geez.
So welcome to the show, you guys. I think we should start with Brian just to set the tone, and then we want to talk about their art, their shows that are coming up, what you don't know about Fringe, and then we have a fundraiser that we want to talk about coming up too. So welcome to the show, guys. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for coming all the way to the Citrus Club. All right, Brian, tell us a little bit about you, and then give us the overall thought process on Fringe.
Sure. Well, I'm Brian Sikorski. I'm the marketing director for Orlando Fringe. And everyone really knows Orlando Fringe as the big festival that happens every May over 14 days. And 4 years ago, we realized that a lot of our fans who appreciate this independent theater by these amazing, talented artists that travel from all around the world to come here to Orlando with these great shows, they starve for it. They want more. So we found a halfway point here in January where we can do a curated festival and where we can handpick some shows where we feel these are the best of the best. Either ones that patrons love, the critics here in Orlando have loved, or as we've traveled the world to different Fringe festivals, we say this is a show that Orlando audiences are just going to eat up. So we bring them in for this 4-day festival here in January. It's kind of our way of also inviting new people to Fringe that have never been before.
Right.
And we kind of look at this as like Fringe Light or Fringe with training wheels. So when you go to the festival in May, it's huge. It's 14 days long. There's over 130 shows. But with this one, these are, there's only 22 shows. You handpicked these, so you can go to the festival, see a show, and you're pretty much guaranteed to love this show because we know it's good.
So let me ask you real quick, and then I want to dive into everybody. So one of the things we talked about earlier, and I try to talk about it every single time we do a show with you or any of the artists that you have, is people feel intimidated by the arts, right? They don't know what they're doing, what they're saying.
Sure.
They don't understand, well, Fringe, that seems like something that might be outside of my 9 dots that I'm used to going to. So how do we encourage them? It's not, I want to tell them it's not something you need to feel afraid of, but let's say you've never been to Fringe. What's the best way to experience it as a beginner? How does a beginner go, all right, I'm watching the show, I want to go see Fringe. I want to go see the stuff at Fringe.
Well, the first thing to do is go to our website, orlandofringe.org. Take a look at what we're offering, see the shows that are coming up. You can see the program online, but really just show up. Come to the festival and just experience it. And one of the things that I think is one of the best things we do at Orlando Fringe is that we're very welcoming. We're founded on being accessible and allow people to come and enjoy themselves. During May, we know it's intimidating, we know it's overwhelming, but we have programs where you can come and we'll personally give you a guided tour. If anyone's watching right now and wants to come to the Winter Mini Fest and never been to Fringe before, put a comment in this video. I will set up a time with you. I'll meet you and we'll walk around together. I'll show you where everything is. I'll tell you what shows you need to see.
It's also it's a concept that's not without an analog. People all the time are scrolling through Netflix trying to find a thing to watch, and then they spend their entire night scrolling through Netflix, right? Like if you come to the festival, there's 22 options to see, and you get to choose whichever one that you want to see right there.
Right.
That's
Scroll
very
through the program.
cool. Scroll through the program. All right, so let's talk about programming. Let's give these artists a little bit of time to talk about themselves and what their shows are going to be. All right, so we'll start with Nyla. Always ladies first.
Oh, thank you.
I'm literally not going to try the name again because I would not French that up so well. So Nyla, I loved the graphic of your show, so I'm very fascinated by it. So tell them a little bit about you and then about your show.
Sure. So, hi everyone. My name is Nyla Carpentier. It is a French last name, and that's because I have come from a mixed heritage, which is Indigenous, or as they say here in the States, Native American, French, and Scottish.
Wow.
And so I grew up in Canada, in Ottawa, Ontario. I've been performing and storytelling since I was a little kid. I'm a poet and a powwow dancer. I traveled to different powwows in Canada and States, dancing since I was a kid. And I also powwow culture. It's something that again, Native Americans for here. If you've never been, it's like a gathering of all different nations come together for a weekend. And it's a weekend of dancing, competitions in different dance styles with a full regalia, and they'll compete in different age categories. And there's food, drumming, dancing. It usually happens Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or
very cool.
Yeah, it's a whole weekend, or even the middle of the week, but it happens all across North America. There's actually one happening for the Seminole tribe are having their powwow in February, actually, in Hollywood, Florida. There's one happening.
Very cool.
Yeah. So that's part
I
of
didn't know what powwow was.
Yeah.
I mean, I sort of did, but I wasn't sure.
It's definitely not a conference meeting. That's not what it is.
So tell us about how you got it. Were you always? So you said you're always a storyteller since you were. So how does that happen when somebody is that as a kid and then you decide, all right, this is really what I want to do for the rest of my life?
For me, it was drama class in high school. I took a drama class instead of doing music or art, and I gravitated it quite easily because I was always very talkative and hyperactive as a child. Didn't get diagnosed with ADHD until 30, so go big. And I gravitated towards performance and sharing stories, and I've also been very fascinated with storytellers, like watching them too as well as a kid. So that's what kind of led me into more of the professional training, was meeting a drama teacher and saying, oh, you can go to school for this. You can go to college or university, train in it, or even go to just acting schools in general. And so that kind of took me on a trajectory to being a performer and an actor, and trained to be an actor, but then also pull all these different elements of my life into it.
Well, that's the one thing I want to ask, and I'm going to ask each person who has a show about this. How do you go from being a professional actor, how do you go from loving your craft, and then all of a sudden you're creating a show? So what was the impetus behind, tell them what the name of your show is.
So the name of my show is Dissection of a Mixed Heritage Woman. It's about me exploring my identity and figuring out which part of me comes from which side. You know, is this curly hair, is this the Scottish or Indigenous? These long fingers, are they French? These bushy eyebrows, do I blame are they French? What's the Scottish big loudness? What comes from what? Based on personal family stories, and of course how society views Indigenous people and French people and Scottish people. So that's where my story came from.
Fascinating.
And it's 10 years in development.
Well, that's what I was going to ask the next question was, this isn't like an overnight thing. So when we want to really stress that when they're putting on their whole heart and soul in these shows, like they've created these shows, and by created, I don't mean they just sat down and one day they said, oh, I'm going to do a show, and then 5 minutes later there's a show. If any of you are like that, we're golden. But I think there's this amazing process that goes on. Was it cathartic for you?
It was
writing this show, doing this show?
It was really interesting because it changed a lot over 10 years as I grew up and gained more experience. So it was very cathartic, but also growing and grounding in a way. When I started it, I didn't have such a clear sense of who I was identity-wise, and so I'm very, in the 10 years, 20s, being mid-20s, now being mid-30s, I'm a lot more grounded in who I am as a person.
Sure.
But a lot of this story began when I wasn't grounded and had a lot of questions about where I fit, and am I Indigenous enough, or how do I bridge the gaps between my non-Indigenous family and my Indigenous family, and things like that.
Fascinating. All right, so you do a one-woman show.
One woman, that's right.
And you are tonight at 9 o'clock?
No, I'm at 7:30 p.m.
7:30.
At the Purple Venue, and it's a show that incorporates storytelling, poetry, and dance.
And dance.
Oh, there's some booty shaking.
Yeah. Thank
She's
you.
also got shows the rest of the week as well.
Oh, yes.
Of course.
So if you miss it tonight, make sure you come out.
That's why we have director Brian here.
Yes,
I
yes.
love it. Fantastic.
Not just tonight. You have
No,
other
please.
There's more options.
There's more options.
And also, what I like to add too is, so many people when they see a performance, they don't understand really what goes into some of these shows. When you see a show that's on Broadway or anywhere else, there's so many hands that are involved in these productions, from
Right.
producers to writers to the money people and all that. The shows that you see at Fringe are true independent theater. The people that you see on the stage are the ones, most often are the ones who wrote these pieces, and they're putting their own heart and soul on the lines on this stage for you. So you want real, raw emotion and closeness with a performer. This is the only really close way you can get at it, and that's one of the beauties of Fringe.
What I loved, and then I want to move, we're going to go to Paul and then skip back to John, because John has more to talk about as far as a fundraiser goes. But one of the things I loved when I was trying to tag all of you, when I was thinking about friending you, and I would friend every one of you, but I'm like, wow, we have this many people in common, because you obviously have made an impact with whatever you're doing, and it wasn't just Brian, by the way. It was we have lots of friends in common, because what you're doing, I think, is making a huge impact. All right, so Paul Strickland.
Hello.
He's the guy in the hat. I love the hat.
Thank
I
you.
recognized him immediately because of the hat. So Paul, tell us a little bit about you, your origin story, and then how you got here to Fringe and about your show.
Well, I've been doing Fringe festivals now for a decade as kind of part of my living. So I've been traveling around for quite a while, but I sort of stumbled backwards into it through a sort of cacophony of different art forms that I was doing. I toured the United States for a while as a stand-up comedian full-time, and I've also done a lot of singer-songwriter work, and so eventually that sort of welded its way into what I'm doing now, which is tall tale storytelling.
Tall tale storytelling.
Yeah, so it's like Mark Twain on acid, is the way I like to talk about it. The show is called 90 Lies an Hour, and I basically get up for an hour plus here at Winter Mini Fest. If you already saw the show this past May, I'll be doing a brand new story at each of the other two shows as sort of a bonus track. But it's 100% made up. Not a single word of it is true,
Nice.
and I guarantee that.
So tell me about how that progresses, and then I want to get back to how you got into it. Mark Twain on acid, somebody just said.
Yeah.
Tell me how that works. Just you come in and you're basically fabricating a story the whole time and engaging the audience in.
Yeah, so I mean, I think it's, if you think of storytelling the way that I think a lot of people sort of, when you say the word storytelling, a lot of people think of it as sort of narrative first-person storytelling. So, there I was with a can of tomato in one hand and my mom screaming at me on the other side, right? Except instead of that, I had, when I started out, a very troubled relationship with family. And so, I went through a divorce that was very difficult, and then I also had this troubled relationship with my immediate family, and so I created a family. I made up a family, which was my Ain't True and my Uncle False. And so all of the stories that come from 90 Lies an Hour actually happen at Ain't True and Uncle False's trailer park, which is a trailer park that's in the shape of a cul-de-sac called Big Fib Trailer Park Cul-de-sac.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing already.
Oh, good. That's
It's
perfect.
fascinating.
Yeah.
So what was but was that cathartic for you? I'm going to ask each artist that, because I feel like there's so much that you pour into it that's heart and soul. Everything that you guys do is heart and soul. Was it cathartic? Was it life-changing? Was it difficult to create that?
I think there is an incredible amount of bravery that goes into telling your own story.
Agreed.
And I think some people have access to that a little more easily than others. And for me, it was easy. It was easier, especially at the time, but I would say even now, to talk about things that are very important to me, to try to figure out a way to name some of my demons by creating these fabricated stories. And so whenever I am telling a whole lot of lies that are hopefully getting a lot of laughs, I am also investigating some of the reasons why I'm telling those stories in front of the audience. And so there is For me, at the very least, as much catharsis in my lying shows as there would be if it were a true
I just feel like if you're speaking
show.
your truth, even though it's lied, you're speaking this story that's yours on a regular basis, that of course all of this stuff has to come out. You're actually facing it on a nightly or daily basis, and I think that has to have some sort of cathartic benefit.
Yeah, I think about it often as sort of I'm just a bit ninja-like. I just try to not be seen as much as possible when I'm kind of battling my own demons on stage.
And before we move to John, I want to ask, beginnings, were you always into creating, and were you a creative, as they say, early on?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't realize I was making tall tales. That was a phrase that someone else handed me and was like, this is what you are doing, and then that sort of really gave me a lot more direction. Now I do a lot of storytelling festivals, and in the storytelling festival world, there is this whole genre of tall tales tellers and liars. But I didn't know that's what I was doing at all. It was actually much more organic than that. All of Ain't True and Uncle False started as a failed novel. And so I wrote 600 pages of this stuff before I ever realized that what I should be doing was sort of melding that with what I was already doing, performing live on stage and using jokes and songs as a way to sort of talk about myself.
Very cool. All right, so I know there's more days, Brian, other than tonight, but you are on tonight, which is Friday, 9 o'clock.
7:30.
7:30.
7:15.
Oh, we got a correction from the
7:15.
audience.
Yes.
I like it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
7:15. You guys can check this out we tagged it, so I tagged the Facebook page, so you should be able to check everything out there. Thank you for sharing that, both of you. All right, so John Bennett, or
Yeah.
what did you
There
say,
you go.
Benoit?
John
earlier?
Bennett. Yeah.
John Bennett.
Whatever you want, it's fine.
All right, so you're obviously from Georgia, Kentucky.
I'm from here. I'm from Australia. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about you, and then of course we want to talk about your show and the fundraiser.
Yeah, so I'm here. I come to Orlando quite a bit to perform in the festivals here. I think this year will be like my 8th one or something like that. But I have a similar sort of thing to Paul, where I started in comedy and found Fringe as a way to do something different. But I tell real, true stories about my family. So I'm like just myself on acid, I guess. So I just tell stories about my family and growing up and travel and this sort of stuff. And I use a lot of projection and multimedia and that sort of stuff.
And what is the name of your show?
I'm doing 2 shows here. One is called Fire in the Meth Lab. There's a show about my brother becoming addicted to meth and blowing himself up in a meth lab. It's a lighthearted tale, that one. And but it's a comedy show about siblings and how that becomes. How does addiction grow in a family? My family are very religious, and how is a person like that created, and my relationship with him through that. Yeah.
Your poster, by the way. Oh God, I'm old. I'm dating myself. Your graphic poster. Beautiful. I loved all of the, because all I can think about is it looked like it was something from Cannes.
It's totally nicked off of Breaking Bad. It's exactly
is
the
that
Breaking
what it
Bad
is?
thing. Yeah, of course.
It was awesome. I
Yeah.
loved every second of it.
Yeah.
All right, and then your second show?
The second show is called It's Rabbit Night. It's more an experimental storytelling show where everything goes wrong. And but it's
what's
not even
the
that.
title? It's Rabbit Night.
It's called It's Rabbit Night because what it actually is a show where everyone gets a free carrot and we all dress as rabbits and just have a real fun time.
Is that really what happened?
Yeah, that's what happens.
I don't
Dance
know.
around, just
I-
do whatever we want.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah, it's real fun. If you want to get out your rabbit fantasies, come along.
Fringe has everything.
I never
Yeah.
know what is happening.
Yeah,
most
that
days.
one is just to say any more would be it's there are rules to Rabbit Night, and one is you do not talk about Rabbit Night. So
Ever.
That's all I'll say.
It's like Vegas, but with rabbits.
Yeah.
All right, so talk about, you're from Australia.
Yeah.
So talk about, you have a fundraiser coming up on Tuesday.
Yeah, on Tuesday at the Savoy at 7:30. I just this all happened. I've only just come back from Australia, and my family is deeply impacted by the fires there. A lot of my shows revolve around growing up on a place called Kangaroo Island, which is an island off the coast of South Australia, and that island is one of where the biggest fires are. So I felt very helpless being all the way over here and getting updates from my family. My extended family have been evacuated from their houses. A lot of them have lost their properties and houses on Kangaroo Island. So I just thought, what can I do in this quick time? So I started a fundraiser that we're doing at Savoy with a bunch of Fringe acts, because that is the beautiful thing about Fringe as well, is it is a community and we're very accepting. So everybody has jumped on board. And already, just after last night, we've already raised about $1,000.
Nice.
And I know charities can get bogged down in politics and things like that. So I actually want to raise this money and send it to the actual people who live on the island to help out with the wildlife there and to just help as much as I can, And the Orlando Fringe has gathered around, and all my friends have joined in. So it'll be a variety night and a fun night. And it's just $10 donation or whatever you can donate, and there'll be prizes and things like that.
I love that. So
Yeah.
it's at Tuesday at Savoy.
Yeah.
What time?
7:30.
Do you buy tickets at the door?
You just pay at the door. Like I can't. I have a producer for most things that I do, so I have produced this myself. So there's no tickets to be able to sell. I'm just saying, give me all your money. That's all I'm saying, and
That's okay.
I will just put
it
it in an
works.
envelope and send it away. That's what I will do.
Show up, suit up.
I love that. You know what's crazy about the whole Australia fires is, for a long time I'm admitting something that might make me look bad, but I think a lot of people, I didn't pay attention to it because I didn't realize the depth of it. And so I'm super glad to have something local that we're doing for it, because I feel like we don't realize the impact that is going to long term, not just short term, have on the people there, but long term have on our environment and so many things.
Yeah, a good example that has been said is the horrific California fires. I think was 2 billion hectares were burnt. Australia is heading towards 13 billion hectares or acres being burnt or something like that. So it's huge. It's a massive thing that is affecting every single person I know in Australia, and I have to look at it. I'm scared to look at my phone these days because it's everywhere, and this is the only thing I feel like I can do.
This is something that's actually, I want to tell you, it's the first fundraiser I've seen locally in Orlando. And I'm sure there's more, but that I've heard of. So if you have a passion, as you should, for Australia, just think koala bears. I mean, think something. Go with your mind, whatever you are. But these people are being impacted. Our environment, our air. Oh God, I can't even think about that. If you look at all the stats that are out about that. So you're local. You're going to have a variety show. Is that what I heard?
I've got some. I found some local musicians who I just saw at an open mic, and I've just been handing it out and saying anyone who wants to perform can perform. I think Ross Padgett, who is on radio here.
I love him.
Ross is going to do something,
He's
and I've got
awesome.
a couple of local celebrities coming in to help out as well.
Good. All right, so that's Tuesday, and we'll share all of that information too. All right, so Brian, I'll let you wrap it up. Tell me what's going on. We want to make sure people know how to go to Fringe, how to reach out to these amazing artists, how to get involved, right? Don't you want people to get involved? You want to be involved, so tell us.
Definitely. OrlandoFringe.org, all the information's there. It's so simple to Fringe. Step one, get a button. Buttons are only $3. You can use the button all weekend long. That's the money that helps the festival, put it on, because as a nonprofit we need help to bring these artists in and put on shows. And then get a ticket, and then repeat that step over and over. Get a ticket, see shows, just come and have a good time.
All right, OrlandoFringe.org, best place to go, right?
That's it.
And then we've tagged everyone. We're going to figure out how to tag Paul later, but we've tagged everyone else. And then you can go look at their social media. These people put their heart and souls into this. Like, this is, nobody here is a Rockefeller. So, and I say that because I want you guys to know that it's important for you to come out and support them. And if you can already see, I'm entertained. Immediately, they're just here and I'm entertained. So imagine if you go to the festival and support them. So it's Saturday. It's tonight. Saturday, Sunday, and Monday too, or no?
Yeah, we're all day Saturday, and we're starting early in the morning. We have a kids Fringe mini fest, so it's a free event for kids from 10:15 to 12:45, all free events for kids, plus a couple shows at only $5 each for kids and adults. There's Visual Fringe where you can come and make art. We have live artists on hand creating art. You can buy art. We have great food. We have great drinks. I mean, it wouldn't be Fringe without some drinks.
Hello.
I know.
The courtyard is on point.
The courtyard's on point, isn't it? Yeah. It's awesome.
So that's going on all day Saturday. We're back all day Sunday, and that's it.
All right. So Orlando Fringe guys, thank you, Nyla. Thank you, John. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Paul. Thank you guys for being on. We appreciate you. Go out and support local arts. These guys want your support, but trust me, you're going to be moved and motivated and inspired when you go out and see them. Get outside your 9 dots. It's not all about 90 Day Fiance. Let's try to get out of that for just a few minutes. Appreciate you guys being on. We love you. We see you back here on Monday. Mwah.